Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the live stream. Welcome to a new week and welcome to all your latest Chelsea news. Big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you're smashing the like, subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. Apologies that I am a little bit late, guys. Been filming in London. Apologies, a bit late getting back, but we're here. And we've got an important conversation to have, guys. We have got an important conversation to have. Obviously, off the back of the defeat to Aston Villa on Saturday evening, a lot of questions are being asked about the Chelsea project, about what is the Chelsea project? Is the Chelsea project working? What next for the club? Where do we go from here? 10 points behind Aston Villa, 13 points behind Arsenal, 11 points behind Man City, 3 points behind Liverpool. We're a point ahead of Sunderland. We're level on points with Man United. We're only 3 points ahead of Spurs and Brentford. This is not what we signed up for. This was not the progress that we were expecting this season. This is not what we were naturally expecting to happen. We've not made progress this season, chat. Let's not beat around the bush. No progress has been made this season. And a lot of that comes down to the summer recruitment. A large part of that is down to the summer recruitment. In fact, I'd say nearly all of it is down to what we did in the summer. But there are still things that the manager is getting wrong. And I expect Enzo Maresca to get things wrong because this is just his third season as a manager. My issue is not Enzo Maresca getting things wrong. My issue is Enzo Maresca is not learning from the things he's getting wrong. He is getting the same things wrong game after game after game. That's the biggest problem here. Not that he's making the mistakes. He's not learning from them. But Chelsea are not learning from the mistakes that they're making either. But anyway, guys, big up to everyone. I'm going to say hello to some of you lot right now. But first things first, make sure you check out Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off. Great quality, affordable prices, whatever Chelsea kits you want, names, numbers, patches, whatever you want on the back, or your retro kits or any other team kits that you want to wear, that you want to collect. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop has got you covered. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off. Link is in the description. Now, let's say hello to some of you lot and let's have a very important conversation, guys. Let's see what you are saying in the chat. There's quite a lot. Sporting directors need to be held accountable. They do, agreed. The ownership is a disgrace. Egbali and Co are killing our club, making us a laughing stock. I hear you. Big up, brother. Hope yes, all good. Not feeling too confident about tomorrow. No, neither am I, to be perfectly honest. The owners are not interested in winning. They're only interested in making profit. I get that to a certain extent. Blue Co's in charge of 2 clubs and can't run either of them properly. Fair point. I think winning the Club World Cup was a curse, as it probably made the owners think the so-called project was good and the squad was enough to ensure future success. I think it was a blessing and a curse. Great to win it. You know, we want to be winning trophies with Chelsea Football Club, but it allowed fans to think that we are much better than we are, and it allowed the directors and the ownership to think what they're doing is actually working and what they're doing can get us to win a Premier League title. It can't. Same thing is happening to Strasbourg. Yes, to a certain extent, I agree. But there was one protest. I don't know who organised it, and then there's been nothing since. Just big up, brother. Big up. Yeah, no, absolutely. Of course we have, bro. Look, maybe not so much this season, but over the period that he's been here, of course we've made progress. You know, we won 2 trophies and we got back into the Champions League. That's progress, because the season before that we finished 6th and won nothing, and the season before that we finished 12th and won nothing. So we've absolutely made progress under Enzo Maresca. I think the question for me is how much more progress can we make with the tools that he's got at his disposal? And ultimately, whether we like it or not, Chelsea by design and with this squad are where we should be. This is a squad that the ceiling right now is 4th/5th place. That's the reality of the situation. And whether people like that, whether people want to hear that, whether people want to accept it, the reality is the ceiling for this squad and this group of players that have been assembled by the sporting directors is fourth or fifth. That's it. Like, it really isn't too difficult to understand, chat. It really isn't too difficult to understand. Fourth or fifth is the ceiling for what we are doing right now. No, there's not, because the press conference today was pre-recorded after the Aston Villa game. So there's no fresh update. Some of our recruitment has been embarrassing. It's poor. It's easier to say who you would keep than who you would sell. Bro, 100%. And we're going to get into this in more detail, but this is the biggest issue, is that we've spent all this money, we've signed all these players, and yet there's about 4 or 5 of them who are decent. Can't have it both ways. We had a great season last season. Bro, we haven't got an amazing squad though. Bro, that last sentence contradicts itself. How can you we have an amazing squad but not great depth? So literally, you've just admitted we don't have a great squad then. Because outside of using our first 11, the depth is crap. So you've just admitted yourself we don't have a great squad. Chelsea have got, when everyone's fit, Chelsea have got a very good first 11 that can beat anyone in world football in a one-off game. As soon as players get injured, or as soon as you have to rotate players, the drop-off in quality is massive. Therefore, we do not have a great squad. So you've literally just proved my point here, is that we don't have a good squad. Never felt so disheartened like I did after the second half performance against Villa. I hear it. Maresca is a problem, but it's glaring where the biggest problem lies. Yeah, bro, and this is it, right? And when people say to me, oh, why aren't you getting onto the manager? I would be on the manager, right? And would probably be calling for some sort of change if I hadn't sat back and watched the club make the squad worse over the summer. I would be on the manager much more if he was given the tools, if we had a complete squad and he was producing this. However, the club have massively let him down over the summer. Let down big time. Didn't give him what he needed. A shocking window. And this is now where we're at. Shocking window. And so when people say, I'll sack the manager, what I will say to this is, who employed the manager? The sporting directors. Who put the squad together that's not good enough for the manager to use? The sporting directors. Who is more than likely going to pick the next manager? The sporting directors. And people have got this fantasy that they think that Chelsea will get rid of Enzo Maresca and they'll appoint a top quality coach. No, they won't. No, they will not. It will be a Cesc Fabregas, it wouldn't be Roberto De Zerbi. He'd last 5 minutes here. A Liam Rosenior. These kinds of managers. Look at the shortlist, right? Look at the shortlist, guys, when Pochettino left. Enzo Maresca, Kieran McKenna, Thomas Frank. Do not tell me that you think the shortlist is going to be any better or have any more quality on it if Maresca goes like some people want him to go. Yes, big up, bro. The quality of our backups and also the left-wing options, bro, terrible. We downgraded, and people don't want to have this conversation. And I was saying it in the summer. We downgraded. Liam Delap is considerably worse than Nicholas Jackson at this point in time. Madueke is better than Gittins, than Garnacho. Sancho is better than Gittins and Garnacho. Dare I say it, Mudryk was no worse than Gittins and Garnacho. Okay. So what are we doing here? Esteval, a lot of talent, a lot of ability. But in terms of being Premier League ready and ready to perform in the Premier League on a weekly basis, he's not better than Madueke in that sense. So you're just going through those positions there. We've changed a load of players in the attack, and the ones that came in are not better than the ones that left. And that is the fundamental issue. I said it in the summer. I don't mind what players leave this football club, but you bring in better players than the ones that left. And we didn't. Barring João Pedro, all the attacking players that came in were at best level with the ones that left. So we haven't improved the attack. And this is how bad the summer is, right? Is that you've got Chelsea fans who are wanting Nicholas Jackson and Madueke back because of how bad the summer recruitment has been. Now, I'm not saying that Madueke and Jackson were the answers, but this squad with Madueke and Jackson in it is much better than them not in it. So mistakes are being made on the pitch, mistakes are being made off the pitch. We do not know how to win games of football. We do not know how to see games out. Bro, 100%. I think people getting very confused, right, saying that I didn't put any blame or responsibility on the manager. I absolutely do. I've criticised the manager many times for things that he's got wrong. He got it wrong against Aston Villa in terms of when they made the triple substitution, Onana, Sancho and Watkins coming on. They went to a three-man midfield and we didn't have any answers to it. However, it shouldn't have even got to that in the first place. We should have been out of sight in that first half. We should have been 2 or 3-0 up. And if we had better quality in the final third, better players, then we wouldn't have been in a situation where that triple substitution would have mattered in the second half. We should have been out of sight, 3-0 up at halftime, game, set, match, 10-game winning streak over. And this is where I cut the manager slack, because in a lot of games this season, Maresca has coached wins, but has been let down by the quality on the football pitch. And this is where I despair for the likes of Cole Palmer, Cucurella, Reece James, Caicedo, because these guys are top footballers. These guys always put in a shift, always put in a top performance. But we have surrounded them with players that aren't good enough. We have surrounded them with players who are not going to take this football club to the next level. And when I see Reece James balling out every week and I'm just looking at him and I'm thinking, brother, I feel so sorry for you, because we have surrounded you in a team that is not good enough. Not good enough. Egbali needs to... Bro, Egbali is not going to be firing the sporting directors. He's not. Everything you needed to know about this Chelsea project was confirmed when the sporting directors got contract extensions. That told you everything about the direction of this project, and that told you everything about what is going on at Chelsea Football Club. 2 shocking transfer windows rewarded with contract extensions. That's not how serious football clubs operate. Big up, brother. I wonder if some of his team selections and subs are to make a point. Look, to be honest, the team selection against Aston Villa, no one had any issue with that. No one had any issue with it whatsoever. The subs, you can look at the subs, right? But that's all we've got to bring on. And you're asking me the question, how a Chelsea Football Club go into their bench and their answer to changing the game is Liam Delap, Jamie Gittins, and a top talent in Esteval, but he's 18 years of age. That's the answer to change. That's the answer to changing the game. And this is my point, right? Aston Villa, great football club. But how have Aston Villa, on a way lesser budget, got much better squad depth, way better options? Look at what we bought off the bench. Delap, Esteval, Gittins. Aston Villa bought off the bench game changers, match winners. Ollie Watkins, both goals. Jadon Sancho made an impact, and Amadou Onana bullied us in midfield, dominated that midfield when he came on. The most damning thing is, and I know Sancho chose money and he didn't want to stay with us. Okay, Jadon Sancho would have been Chelsea's best left winger this season. Sancho would still start for Chelsea. And this is my thing, is that look at the game changes on the Aston Villa bench and then look what's coming off our bench. And you've got people here that won't criticise the directors, that still believe in the project, that think the project is a legit thing. No, guys, wake up. We need to wake up and we need to realise what is going on here. We are not serious. We are 3 years into the project now. It will be 4 years come May, so end of the season, since these guys took over. What progress have we made in that 4 years? Because right now, before this ownership, we weren't challenging for Premier League titles. We were winning trophies. We were picking up trophies here and there. We still picked up trophies. I'm saying it now. We are nowhere near winning a Premier League title. We're not even close to challenging for a league title. I don't care who the manager is. I don't care who's in charge next season. Next season, there must be a serious title challenge. If there's not a serious title challenge, the people in charge are not fit to be in the positions that they are in at this football club. There has to be a title challenge next season. No ifs, no buts, no maybes, no excuses. Sign serious players, make serious signings in the transfer window in the summer. Give whoever the manager is the tools needed to compete in the Premier League, and we have to have a challenge next season. Because this ownership will be a gross failure if there is no title challenge next season. And I mean a serious title challenge. I don't mean, oh, we'll be up there till Christmas and then we'll drop off in the new year. No, I mean, we need to be there in March, April time. There are no excuses. No excuses whatsoever. None. Absolutely no excuses for there not to be a title challenge next season. There must be a title challenge next season, chat. There must be. But we know there's not going to be. Because I can already tell you, we already know what the window is in the summer. We've got Quenda arriving. We've got Emmanuel Omega arriving. And we'll sign a young up-and-coming midfielder. And then we might do a one-in, one-out situation. Do you know how unserious that window is? We already know what 2 of our summer signings are because they're already done. We know we're going to sign a midfield player that won't be of the level required to move us forward. And we might sign a centre-back. It's not good enough. It is not good enough. You cannot take shortcuts in this league. No one cares. As I said in my match reaction, no one cares if you've reduced the wage bill. No one cares about any of that shit if you are not getting the results on the football pitch. Give me the results on the pitch. Give the manager what is required to get the results on the pitch, and then we can move from there. Because I would have a lot more energy for the manager if this was a complete squad and he had all the tools needed to compete and he was producing this. The fact of the matter is, yes, his in-game management has been poor on occasions this season, but ultimately, what this comes down to is we do not have enough quality. Our squad depth is poor, and we've got no killers in this team, and the attack other than Cole Palmer is crap. We have to say it how it is. The attack other than Cole Palmer is poor. You cannot rely on anyone for a consistent amount of goals other than Cole Palmer. He is the only one you can rely on for a consistent amount of goals. No one else is giving you regular goals. Bro, people always say this, right? That, fans should stop going to games. Bro, it's not going to happen because if people stop going to games, Chelsea Stadium is always going to be full. Even if regular match goers stop going, there will always be people at the ground. The club will always make money from supporters. Whether regular match goers stop going and different people go, you are never going to get a situation where there is an empty stadium. People think this is a good idea, but the reality of it is it's not going to happen. Bro, I don't care about the baseball team. I don't care about the baseball team. I want Chelsea to win. I've not said they don't care about winning because they obviously do care about winning. but they care about winning in their own way. They don't care about winning at all costs. They're so wedded to this idea. And I almost admire the delusion that they think you can be serious in this way of operating. I admire the delusion. I do. I respect it. I respect that level of delusion that you think that it's possible to win like this. You can win cups like this, absolutely, because we've proven that we can win cups. But we need to be honest about ourselves here. We are nowhere near winning a Premier League title. We're nowhere near challenging. Let's deep it, guys. We have not challenged for a league title since we won it under Antonio Conte in 2017. That is the last time we challenged for a league title. Do you know how mad that is? Well, bro, you have to make progress to win majors. So that progress is it doesn't make sense, because to make winning majors is making progress. We need to make progress. Bro, look, 1 win in 6 this month is poor. No doubt about it. And the manager is not perfect. I've said that. But if you think that a better manager is going to come in and working under the same model, the same ownership, with the same players, and you think they're going to get much more out of this group, CAA Mafia, what do you think another manager is going to do? Because the ceiling, in my opinion, is fourth/fifth for this squad that we've got. So do you think another manager is coming in and getting this team top 3 or challenging for the title? Do you believe that this squad is better than top 4, top 5? Please answer me that question. No, it's not. But so many people don't understand that. So many people are struggling to grasp that. We're just not good enough. No, bro, please tell me. And I was delighted last season to get back in the Champions League and win 2 trophies. Absolutely delighted. But brother, we are 13 points behind the league leaders coming up to the end of December. We are 10 points behind Aston Villa who are third. We're 3 points behind a shocking Liverpool team. We're level on points with Man United. Please forgive me if I'm not celebrating something here. Am I missing something good that's happened this season? Because this season should have been a statement of intent. This season should have been us showing that we're serious. Go and make a statement in the summer. Equip the manager who has shown that he can win. Equip him with what he needs to compete for a Premier League title. And let's go from there. Instead, we got rid of a load of players that had contributed for us last season, brought them in with players that are worse than the ones that left. And here we are. The same thing's happening over and over again. How many times have we said Chelsea lack quality in the squad? How many times have we said there's no cutting edge? There's no killers in this team? How many times have we said the attack is not good enough? How many times have we said, oh, if only we could kill games off? It's the same rinse and repeat problems every single time. So I don't know. What am I expecting? What are you lot expecting to be different? Bro, Unai Emery is top manager, by the way. Where do you think Unai Emery has this team? If Unai Emery is coaching this Chelsea team, are they above 5th place right now? Maybe they're in 4th. Maybe they're in 4th. But we have not got the quality in the team. Bro, 10 points behind Villa is not due to coaching. It's just not. Because you're making out like all the drop points this season are Maresca's fault. They're not. Look at the stupid goals we've conceded. Even in this game, right, where admittedly the in-game management was poor, right? If we had better players and more quality in the final third, that game's 2 or 3-0 at halftime. It's locked off. It's done. Lack of quality and individual mistakes has cost us way more points this season than Enzo Maresca has. Aston Villa for 60 minutes were terrible. Absolutely terrible. But look what they had on their bench. Match winners. Game changers. And that was the difference. The difference was the quality they had on their bench, and then obviously Unai Emery making a tactical switch going to a 3-man midfield. However, there are no excuses from a Chelsea perspective because we made 2 defensive mistakes. Badiashile giving away the ball for the first goal, and then Malo Gusto leaving Ollie Watkins with a free header in the box. So, again, Badiashile giving the ball away. That's not Enzo Maresca's fault. And Malo Gusto failing to mark his man at a corner is not the manager's fault. Okay. Was his game management in this game poor? Yes. Did he not have an answer to the tactical switch from Villa? Yes. However, none of that would have been relevant if we had more quality because we would have been 2 or 3-0 up at half time and the game would have been done. That's the point that I'm making. But he doesn't have a worse squad. But this is the thing. He hasn't got a worse squad. And too many Chelsea fans for too long have overrated this squad. He's not got a worse squad. Look what Villa were bringing off their bench compared to what we were bringing off ours. They've not got a worse squad. They don't. Yeah, bro, we got left behind in the summer. That's what serious football clubs do. We're just waving January away. We're waving January away, and we are watching other teams strengthen. Arsenal are going to try and do something in January. Man City are already adding Semenyo in January. Why are we so unserious? Why are we so unserious? That's what I'm not getting. Why are we so unserious as a football club? Why? Villa don't have a worse squad. I'm not talking about a few years ago. I'm talking about right now, and the Villa squad is not worse. Yeah, it's that simple. It is that simple. I don't understand why people aren't grasping this. Like, there's a very interesting, and this is actually a good point, right? There's an interesting thing here. I think the BBC did a thing where they're talking about substitutions, right? And the impact that subs have made. And it makes a very interesting reading. Okay, let me bring this up. By the way, guys, 134 in the building. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing if you're new around here. And of course, get your thoughts in the chat as well. I want to hear from all of you guys because this is an important conversation to have, people. Because I think now, finally, people are starting to wake up as to what is happening at Chelsea and what is going on at Chelsea. We're waking up and realizing, as I said after the game, there is no project. This is a player trading scheme. Anyway, we're talking about the squad, right? And the impact and the depth and the quality of depth that we've got, right? Chelsea have the youngest substitutes in the Premier League. Well, we know that. Alongside Arsenal, Chelsea make the earliest subs, averaging their first sub at 48 minutes, often at half-time. Despite this, their subs have contributed 3 goals and 1 assist in the league this season. So we are, 17, 18 games into the Premier League season? We're best part of halfway through the Premier League season, and the substitutes have contributed 3 goals and 1 assist. That in itself sums up the issue, chat. That in itself tells you the squad is not good enough. The quality of the bench is not good enough. The depth we've got it's not good enough. Okay. If this depth was better, if we had more quality, then our subs are contributing way more than 3 goals and 1 assist in 18 games so far this season. This is what people are not getting, chat. This is what people are not getting. They're confused at this point in time. Bro, the wing play is awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, bro, look, there's no sole individual to blame. The players are to blame, the manager's to blame, but the biggest blame is the ownership, the directors, and the model. If you're putting it out in a pie chart, the biggest blame is apportioned to owners and directors. The next portion for me is players, and then the least amount of blame to me is on the manager. For me, that's the least amount of blame. Of course it is. We're into year 4 of the project, and halfway through a season, we are 13 points behind the league leaders, and we are 10 points behind Aston Villa. That's not part of the project. That's not the plan for the project. So the project is on track, right? So season 4 of this ownership, and we are 10 points behind Aston Villa. That's part of the project, yeah? We have got 3 more points than Brentford this season, who lost Thomas Frank, who lost Johan Visser, who lost Norgard, their captain, who lost Brian Mbeumo. We are 3 points better off than Brentford so far this season. This project is not working. We are no closer to challenging for a Premier League title now than we were before these lot came in. There is no project, guys. Bro, Maresca's not shit. He won 2 trophies last season, got us back into the Champions League. He's proven that he can win, and he's proven that he can manage at this level. Has he made mistakes? Yes, absolutely he has. Has he got things wrong? Of course. Is he learning from the mistakes? No, not always. But I'm telling you now, another manager comes in, we start the whole process all over again, and lo and behold, we have the same issues all over again. And then we're back here next season having the same conversation with a different person in the dugout. When are people going to realize that it doesn't matter who is in the dugout when we are run in the way that we are run? When are people going to realize that? The manager's not perfect. I've said that many times. But I think he's a very, very good manager. Because next manager will be a Liam Rossinia, it would be a Fabregas maybe, it would be, I don't know who. Someone that is up and coming like Maresca is. And we'll get some good performances and some good results. But we'll still have the same problems we've always had. I'm not sure why people are finding it so hard to grasp this current situation. Why are people finding it so difficult to understand that it doesn't matter who is in the dugout when we are run like this and operate like this? It doesn't make a difference who's in charge. Yeah, easy. Again, I don't know whether Maresca fell out with Jackson or not. We can get into the Nicholas Jackson stuff a bit later on. Look, Delap, I think he would have been happy with Delap, but ultimately, this is a guy that, you know, at Chelsea, you're basically given the players. You get given the players, and it's up to you to work with those players. And that's how it works. The manager has not got a say in transfers. He'll recommend, I'd like this kind of profile, but ultimately the sporting directors will make the decisions. Bro, this is the problem. Too many people who are squad players, too many people who are starters should be squad players. Should be squad players, chat. Should be squad players. Yes, big up, brother. Yeah, maybe. Bro, if you think this is fine, that's cool. No problem. I don't think this is fine. I don't think this is acceptable, what is happening this season. If you think it's fine, that's cool. I've got no issue with that whatsoever. You're entitled to your opinion. But if you think being 13 points off the top of the table halfway through the season, 10 points off third place, if you think that's fine and that's okay, then I would have to question why you think that. Because this is Chelsea Football Club. We should be competing at the top of the table. We should be competing for the biggest prizes. We have spent so much money, and yet we still don't have a complete squad. We lack quality in key areas. And people are telling me that this is fine. No, less of that. It's nonsense. What is going on is not acceptable. This season is just wasting into nothing when it should have been a big season of progress. Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, and when pretty much the whole 11 and the whole team is young players, that in itself is a massive, massive problem. Massive problem. Yeah, bro, it's Quenda, Omega, probably Jacket, yep, and maybe Key, Smith, or Mano in midfield. That's the window. That's the window. What else have we got? Guys, there's so much stuff coming in. I'm just going to go to the bottom of the... Yeah, bro, it's the same. It's the same, you know. And do you know what's going to happen, right? Do you know what's going to happen? As a result, if we keep going in the direction that we're going and not challenging for Premier League titles and major trophies, you know what's going to happen? Players like Caicedo, players like Cole Palmer, these guys are going to want out at some point. These guys are not just going to throw away the prime years of their career hoping that some phantom project, some false promise that they were sold is going to come true. These guys are not going to wait and wait and wait. And that'll be the next thing in this project. And these lot will find out the hard way. These players will start wanting out. These players will start wanting out. Enzo Fernandez, I can already tell you, at some point he's going to play for Real Madrid. You know that's coming. You know that a Cole Palmer transfer away somewhere else, if we don't fix up, is coming. The same with Caicedo. The same with many others. And maybe that is when people will finally start noticing that this Chelsea project is a sham. Is when those guys start wanting out because what they were told when they first signed is not true. Hasn't come to fruition. That's going to be the next problem. That's going to be the next thing that happens. So what are we doing here? And this is the problem. We've got a good, but this is it though, chat. We've got a good core of players to build around. Reece James, Cucurella, Colwell, Caicedo, Palmer. There's a good core of players there. That's 5 players that I've reeled up. There's a good core of players to build around. But we're not building around them. We lack leaders. We lack experience. We lack know-how. You've got a good core of players to go and build around and make a really good team. But instead, the biggest issue here is that all we're doing, the biggest flaw with the strategy right now is that we are prioritizing future player value over anything else. It doesn't make sense to go and sign an Ollie Watkins, for example, or an Ivan Toney, because you can't sell him for big money in 3 years' time. That is why, and this is the biggest flaw, why do we never sign anyone over the age of, say, 25 or 26? Because in 3 years' time, you cannot sell them for decent money. That is the biggest flaw with this project, is future asset value is prioritized over anything else. No players are coming in. You won't see a Thiago Silva signed on a free like we've seen in the past. You won't see those kinds of signings because there is no resale value in 2 or 3 years' time. Why wouldn't Chelsea go and get, for example, a Serhou Guirassy, an Osimhen, all these guys that we could have got? Because there's no resale value. There's no resale value. And Chelsea cannot see beyond future resale. The idea of bringing someone in to win now, to get you to be there for 3 seasons and get you a couple of league titles or whatever. We would never do that. We would never do that. Everything we do is geared towards future asset value. It's all resale assets. Because someone coming in for 3 years doesn't have a resale value, fine. But the impacts that said player or players could have on the team to make it competitive for those years, that is the value in those kinds of signings. We need these types of players, but we are not going to sign these types of players under this ownership. They have made that very, very clear. Those are the kinds of players that we are not signing, chat. Yeah, of course the owners appointed us. Look, of course it is. And it does come down to the ownership ultimately. Of course it comes down to the ownership at the end of the day. That is exactly what it comes down to. Exactly what it comes down to. Chat, we're still 18 likes away from 100 likes. We've got 150 in the building. Make sure, excuse me, that you are smashing the like button. Get this to 100 likes ASAP, people. We are 17 away. Make sure you get them going. Make sure you get them going, chat. Make sure you get them going. Yeah, I've got that. That's good. Right. Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, chap. Just sorting out Man City tickets. Yeah, he is a major doubt, and Jarell Hato is also a doubt. So we're probably going to be doing up Gusto at left back shift. Bro, this whole brown envelopes thing is the biggest myth imaginable. Like the fact that people legitimately think there are people that are paid by the club not to say certain things is mad. It's actually mad. It really is. It really is crazy. If people wanted to sort a protest out, there's nothing stopping them from doing that. There's nothing stopping anyone from organising a protest. But no one has. We could put Achimpong at left back. Who knows? Yeah, bro, Billy, I hear you, bro. We just completely disregarded the January window. Completely disregarded. Completely disregarded the January window. No, I didn't. I didn't. But Sancho would still start for us right now. Sancho would still be our best left winger. And that's the issue. That's the recruitment. Is that the fact that Jadon Sancho would still be starting for us tells you everything you need to know about the shocking recruitment in the summer. That is the point that I'm making, guys. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, sure. Look, the Xavi Simons thing was a bullet dodged. Absolutely. Semenyo is Premier League proven, by the way. Bro, I'll be honest, we could still make something. Look, we could still win something this season, but in terms of the league, it's another top 4, top 5 battle. Bro, Sancho would start for us on the left wing right now. Sancho would start on the left wing for Chelsea right now. That is the point that I'm making. Yeah, bro, nothing's changed in that regard. Nothing's changed in that regard. We've not been a title challenging team since we last won it in 2017, and we're still not a title challenging team. Yeah, of course they are. Of course they are. They're well out of their depth. They have lucked into this job. They shouldn't be in this job. And yeah. But you know what it is, right? And chat, I don't know if you've seen this video doing the rounds. Seen it on TikTok. This American girl talking about the sporting directors, right? And this quote really resonated. Really resonated, this quote. Really resonated. Let me try and find it now. I think some of you lot in the chat might know. But this quote really resonated. Now, where is it? I can't remember where it is, but there's one thing though. Like we need. I'm going to find it. By the way, anyone in the chat know what I'm on about? Does anyone in the chat know what I'm on about? Oh yeah, there's a super chat as well. Sorry. Big up to Matt. Big up, brother. SDs go, Maresca stays, or both go. Oh no, directors go and Maresca stays. 100%. 100%. But if the only way for the directors to leave would be for Maresca to leave, I would regrettably probably take that. If the manager going is the only way for the directors to go, then I would take that. But ultimately, for me, out of them two things, directors go, Maresca stays. Simple for me. Bring Sterling on the left. Is that where we're at now? But you know what the problem is, though, right? Is that when you look at this, right, the failure, and I will find this quote, the failure is on the directors because Chelsea, for the last few windows, have left the transfer window with a weaker squad than they entered it with. We're spending a lot of money on players who need a number of years to develop. And we then replace them with lesser developed talent. So when this is a repeat pattern, when this is happening window after window, I think it is fair to say this is not a mistake being made. This is their intention. This is the model. This is their intention. Because you are not in a situation where window after window, you are leaving with a weaker squad than you entered it with. You don't keep making that mistake. This is happening by design. This is being done on purpose. This is the intention, guys. This is the intention, is that these lot are intending to make the squad worse. They're making the squad worse each window. That's not a coincidence. That's happening by design, guys. That's happening by design. When are these sporting directors having a review? We constantly hear about managers going under a review, having an end of season review. When are these directors having a review? Where's that review? These lot are not going to review themselves, are they? These lot are not going to review themselves, are they? But to be honest, these lads are probably going to review themselves. These lads will probably review themselves. It's long. But all this is happening by design. All this is happening by design. Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. I would say so. I would say that there's absolutely a possibility of that being the case. Obviously, there's a long way to go until we reach that situation. But yeah, look, I could see that. I could see that being the case. You know, I could easily see that being the case. Could easily see it being the case, and it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. Bro, fans are never going to stop attending games. And you also need to realize as well, I think someone said it earlier in the chat, tickets and stuff make up such a small percentage of money, to football clubs. Like, not buying tickets doesn't have the impact financially that people actually think it does. It doesn't. It doesn't have the impact. But I mean, I really want to find this quote. Does anyone in the chat know what I'm on about? Let me see if I can find it. Let me have a look. Oh, I really want to find it. Right. We're going to do this first. Because this is an interesting piece here, right? Is that on the signings that we've made under this ownership and whether they've been a success or not. Now, I think this guy has got a few of these wrong, but the general point is clear. So, analysis of Chelsea signings since when Stanley and Stewart obviously came in. 42 signings have been made under these sporting directors. £1.2 billion spent. 89% on players under the age of 25. 6 of these signings sold for a profit. 4 made a loss. Now, we can go through these and with hit and miss and see what's being said. I think Enzo Fernandez being a miss is incorrect. Mudryk, I would say miss, yes. Lavia given his... And this is age at the time of signing, all right? So this is age at the time of being signed. So Enzo miss, disagree. Mudryk miss, I think you'd have to say miss. Lavia so far, I think he's a top player, top quality, but he's not been available, not had the desired impact we've needed. So it's probably a miss at this point. Nkunku, absolutely a miss. Gittins is too early to say right now. He's literally just joined. Felix was a miss. Disasi was a miss. I think Badia Shield's been a miss. I wouldn't put Jackson down as a miss for 32 million quid. I think in the 2 seasons was here, he's actually did a good job. Dewsbury Hall, miss. Is Dewsbury Hall a miss? Considering what he was signed to come in to do, I don't know if he was a miss or not. Madueke, I don't think was a miss. Ugachukwu, miss. Jorgensen, miss. Kellyman, miss. Petrovic, miss. Washington, miss. Angelo, Amugu, Vega, all misses. Dacho Fofana, miss. Wiley, miss. Sancho contributed last season. Won't say that was a miss. Buonotte, miss. Tosin, I would say, is a miss. And then we're into... Look, these guys have only just arrived. I don't think Pedro Neto's a miss. Garnacho, it's too early. Hato, too early. Delap, too early. Gusto, I think, has been a success. Sanchez is bordering onto hit. Too early, too early, too early, too early, too early, too early. That's not a success, and that's not a success either. So you're going through that, right? And whilst I disagree with some of the selections, bro, Angelo was a miss. He didn't play a single minute of football for us. That's not a miss. That is a miss. Like, but this is the point though. Look at all the players that we have signed under this ownership and how many have actually made a meaningful contribution. Bro, it's been 6 months. I'm not going to write off players after 6 months. I don't think you can say someone's a miss after 6 months. You know, get to the end of the season or whatever, fine. Maybe we can start having a conversation. But, you know, Cucurella, people would have said he was a miss after 6 months. Because he wasn't doing the business. Yeah, but bro, I don't care if he played well in Liga. I'm looking at what he's doing for Chelsea. What are these players doing for Chelsea? I don't care what these players have done at Strasbourg. That's not my club. I don't support Strasbourg. I don't support Strasbourg. My team's Chelsea. I'm interested in what Chelsea do and what players do in a Chelsea shirt. I am not asked what players are doing in a Strasbourg shirt. You know, Strasbourg, fine. Yes, I know we are. But Cucurella, when he first come to Chelsea, nobody liked him. People were saying he was shocking. People wanted him out. So let's make things clear. But the point here... No, but this is exactly everything that is wrong with Chelsea. And this perfectly sums it up. That's not a good transfer. A good transfer is signing someone who is a success on the football pitch and contributes to us winning trophies. That is a good transfer. I couldn't care less if we sell players for profit. A good transfer is someone who is signed, who contributes on the pitch and helps us win trophies. That is a good transfer. I couldn't care less about finances. I'm not asked about finances. Not asked. Not asked. Jackson was a wrong move for... Yeah, bro, Jackson should have stayed. Jackson should have stayed. You essentially replaced Jackson with Delap. Massive downgrade. Massive downgrade. You know, massive downgrade. And this sums up the issue right now, chat. This sums up the issue with what's going on. Is that look how many look at all these players we've signed and how many of these players have actually contributed and actually been a success. And it's not many, guys. It's not many. It is what it is. But ultimately, look, it is an ownership situation. Of course it is. But the ownership's not going anywhere. But you can force as much as possible to try and get the directors changed and the direction and the model of the club changed. It depends how it's done, but it doesn't. But the thing with protest is right. It's got to be regular as well. You can't just do one protest and then not bother again for another year. Like that doesn't have impact. If you genuinely want to make impact and try and implement serious change, then you need to be regular with these things. Doing one protest and then not bothering for a few months and then trying again is pointless. It doesn't. It's almost not worth doing it. Big up, bro. Hope you're doing well. We sold our best winger to Arsenal and he wasn't great. Yeah, but bro, this is the point that I've made. Right, is that as I said earlier, I've got no issue with players being sold. Please bring in better players, and we didn't. We didn't bring better players in. We brought in worse players. That is the problem. Worse players were signed. And this is it, right? You get rid of Jackson, and we still don't know who should play centre forward. Delap's not good enough, and Joao Pedro is not a number 9. Joao Pedro's not a 9. People can say what they want. Joao Pedro is not a number 9. I said it when he joined, and I'm still saying it now. He is not a number 9. Joao Pedro, let me make this perfectly clear, chat. Joao Pedro is not a number 9. How many times do we need to go through this? He's not a 9. He's not a 9. Because you notice, right? You notice, right? Is that when he plays Joao Pedro up front, you can tell he's not really a striker. But then if you play him as a 10, I don't think he hasn't got the creativity that's needed as a top number 10. Well, I think we know the answer. I think we know who chose that, who did that deal. I think we know who did that deal, guys. Yeah, but bro, playing number 9 at the Club World Cup is totally different to being a number 9 in the Premier League. That's so different to being a 9 in the Premier League. So different. And I think we are finding out that Pedro is not really a 9. Bro, you can say it didn't work out, but he scored a decent amount of goals. He scored, I think, 30 odd goals across 2 seasons. Jackson was a big reason as to why Palmer played so well as well. And Palmer and vice versa. That Jackson Palmer partnership was big. It was really, really good. But we don't have a proper centre forward. We don't have a proper centre forward. And that's a big problem. Because everyone knows that Joao Pedro is not a proper centre forward. Liam Delap's not at the level required right now. Bro, Jackson's much better than Joao Pedro as a centre forward. I said it. I said it in the summer. Jackson is a better centre forward than Joao Pedro, and people were trying to come at me. You know, Jackson's a better centre forward than Joao Pedro. Exactly. This is what people don't understand, right? And this is the major problem with modern day football is that people purely look. All people do is look at numbers. They don't look at the intangibles on the pitch that aren't quantified by numbers. The runs in behind, the pulling players out of position, the creating space for others. They don't look at that. They do not look at that. That needs to be looked at. No, we haven't. Of course we haven't. No, I've not conceded that at this point, but I'm very much aware that it's a top 4, top 5 challenge, but I've not conceded it, no. I haven't given up on top 4, top 5, but it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky, guys. Let's make no mistake about it. It is going to be tricky. It is going to be tricky, guys. I don't know what else to say, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, but this is what people don't see. This is what people aren't quantifying. People will only point out the missed chances, right? When every single striker misses chances. Exactly. The chemistry and the partnerships, right? And this is the most annoying thing in the summer when we ripped up chemistry and partnerships. We ripped up the Jackson partnership with Palmer. We ripped up the Palmer Madueke link up. We ripped up important partnerships in the summer, bought in worse players, and now we're trying to develop new partnerships. It's not good. It's not good. And so when we boil this down, ultimately, it's the ownership and the directors that are the biggest problem at this football club. The project's not working because the project is to get us back to winning major trophies, i.e. Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. We're not closer to doing that. We're not closer to a Premier League title than we were, say, 10 years ago. And we're not closer to winning a Champions League again either. No, bro, it's not hard to say. Of course we are. That's what we're focused on is selling. And people need to wake up. People need to realize that, guys. People need to realize that, guys. Instead of 147 in the building, only 112 likes. Keep smashing that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. We're heading towards 20k, guys. Less than 700, no, less than 800 to go now. Every new subscriber really helps. So please smash the subscribe button, hype the stream, close the live chat, smash the likes. Really help me out, guys, and I greatly appreciate it. So run this up. Let's get this to 120 likes if we can. So let's get to work, chat. Yeah, I would have had Ekitike at Chelsea. I would have done. But we didn't want to pay the money, and we decided to go in a different direction. Has that different direction been good for us? No, it hasn't, but ultimately it is what it is. But it's just annoying because the January window is an opportunity to try and do something, to try and sort something out, and we're just not doing it. We got big problems. Big problems. It's not good. Look, Delap at the moment, we did nothing last January. Delap at the moment isn't offering anything, no. And he needs to fix up. The only thing he's offering is getting booked every time he comes on the pitch. The exact same things that people used to hammer Nicholas Jackson for, Delap's doing. But he's not even scoring any goals. He's not even scoring any goals. So people need to be consistent with the energy they're bringing for players. I don't know. I don't know what's happening to Mudryk. No idea. But we've got to move on from that. It's just I'm just at a loss as to what and where this project actually is. Arsenal acting like a serious club. Arteta saying today we will be actively looking to strengthen the squad in January. Arsenal are 13 points ahead of us. Arsenal, of all clubs, are acting like a serious club. We are acting like a mid-table club. We're acting like a mid-table club. Because he's done a good job at this football club. He's come in, got us back into the Champions League, won us 2 trophies, has got a team set up that can beat anyone in a one-off game. Yes, he lacks the consistency. Yes, he makes mistakes. Yes, his in-game management at times is not good enough. But he's more than shown that he can win at this level and he can manage at this level. Give him a proper squad with the talent required and the quality needed, and he will do a job for this football club. Because he's shown he can be tactically adaptable. He's shown he can beat the best teams. He's shown that with a limited squad, he can achieve good things. Bro, it certainly looks like it. We're a Brighton, Dortmund, Leipzig, that sort of thing, that sort of a team. That's what we are. We're one of those on steroids, guys. So some of it is, but Maresca is by far he's not a major issue at Chelsea. It's a small issue. But yeah, we're not acting like a serious club, guys. We're not acting like a serious club, and that in itself is a problem. Why are we not acting seriously? No, bro. Look, I hear that, and the mistakes for me aren't the problem. It's the not learning from the mistakes, and that's something that he needs to improve upon. I absolutely hear you on that. That is something that he needs to improve on. No doubt about it. Needs to improve in that regard. Needs to improve in that regard. But like, you're seeing things like Jarell Hato, just arrived at the club 6 months ago. Ajax have already made him their number one target for January. Like, surely that's not going to be another player who is signed in the summer and then has left the club within 6 to 12 months. Where is the responsibility for that? Where's the accountability for that? How can you sign and spend so much money on players, and then the amount of these players that are moving on after fucking 6 to 12 months at the football club? That can't be right. That cannot be right. That can't be right. Literally, that cannot be correct, guys. There's a lot going on, people. A lot going on. And I don't know, I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking, how much worse is it going to get before it gets better? And the answer to that is I don't know how much worse it's going to get. Bournemouth tomorrow, must win game. But it's Man City away on Sunday. It's Bournemouth tomorrow, then it's Man City away Sunday. I'm telling you now, yes, it's a big game and maybe we might do something in that. Man City away could be dark. That could be dark for us. Palmer's not fully fit. He's still getting his match fitness back. No, because it depends on the situation and how we lose and the context of the game. Like, those things do matter. But we'll discuss the game in more detail on tomorrow's show. We'll discuss the game in more detail on tomorrow's show. John Duran would have been good. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It'd be very difficult. It would be very, very difficult. But if we're being honest, right, Josh is not going to play at centre back ahead of Chalobah and Fofana as a first choice pairing. Santos is not better than Fernandes or Caicedo. He's not. So people can think what they want. And maybe Santos could have come on against Villa, but Santos is not better than Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Right now, Santos still needs to earn the trust of the manager. This is just his first season here. Yeah, it has at times, absolutely. But the in-game management wouldn't even be mentioned if we had quality in the final third and that game against Villa would have been put to bed at half-time. And then the in-game management isn't even a thing. So you can look at it both ways. Is that Villa game, we should have been out of sight. Out of sight. Yes, chat, keep smashing the like button. How many likes are we on? 121. Guys, let's get us to 130 likes. Keep smashing the like button. It's free. It takes seconds. Big up to Matt coming in with a super chat again. Thank you, brother. My concern is if it gets worse, their portfolio Chelsea will become obsolete and they'll strip all assets out the club and sell. I don't know. It depends how much worse it got. Like, ultimately, we'll still qualify for European football this season. We'll still qualify for European football at a worst case scenario. But the thing is, though, if the results don't start improving soon, those top assets are going to want to leave the club anyway. Bro, he's killing Palmer. Palmer's not been fit this season, barely. Cucurella is having a very good season, and Caicedo is having an outstanding season. So, I don't get what your point is there at all. What's your point there? Because that's just not true. I think we'll beat Bournemouth, but beating Man City, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that one, I have to be honest. Yeah, Cucurella went off with a potential hamstring problem against Aston Villa. Again, because the press conference was pre-recorded, there's no fresh update on that. So we will find out tomorrow, I guess, whether he's in the squad or not. Palmer didn't have 45 GA. Good job it's not at the Vitality, because we went there a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or whatever, we were there. 0-0. And yeah, at Stamford Bridge, we should do better. I imagine Semenyo will probably score, given we tried to sign him or briefed fake interest. So yeah, that could be interesting. And that could be interesting. But yeah, let's have a look if there's any other news, chat, and then I'll round this one out. Don't think so. Right, guys. I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to everybody that's tuned in. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Great show as always, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoon. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with a stream looking ahead to the Bournemouth game. So make sure you stay tuned for that one, people. Smash the likes, subscribe on your way out. Please do that. Both things really important. Big up for the support, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, as I said, and I'll catch you lot again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Love.